Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today we are tackling a big one, system design interviews. Whether you're planning to crush one as a candidate or evaluating talent as a hiring manager, this video has got you covered. System design interviews are like the final boss of tech hiring. And trust me, it's not about memorizing how Netflix works. Let's dive into what hiring managers should focus on when evaluating candidates and what candidates can do to stand out. Let's start with the big picture. Why do companies bother with system design interviews? Well, building systems is at the heart of any tech role, whether it's scaling a startup or building solutions and maintaining a mature enterprise environment. The goal isn't to see if a candidate knows buzzwords like microservices or event-driven architecture. No. It's about understanding their ability to design scalable, reliable, and resilient systems while navigating real-world trade-offs. As a hiring manager, you're not looking for someone who knows it all. You're looking for someone who can learn, adapt, and collaborate under pressure. Now, let's break down what an ideal system design candidate looks like. I usually like to focus on 4 core areas. First, clarity and problem definition. Second, structured problem solving. Third, trade-off analysis. Fourth, communication skills. When a candidate hears a question like this, their first instinct might be to start drawing boxes and arrows. But slow down. The first step is to ask questions in order to clarify the requirements. For example, what's the expected user base? Are the messages real-time or synchronous? Should chat support rich media like links, images, or videos? What's the priority? Are we prioritizing scalability, latency, or reliability? By asking these questions, a candidate demonstrates that they understand that system design is all about context. As a hiring manager, this is your first signal. Do they care about solving your problem, or do they care about building a generic system? Once the requirements are clear, it's time to get organized. A good candidate will outline their approach step by step. Something like this. The high-level architecture. They identify the major components. Deep dives. They focus on one component at a time. Maybe the database or the message queue. 3. Scalability and reliability. They discuss replication, sharding, or even load balancing. This structured thinking shows that they are not overwhelmed by complexity. They are breaking things into smaller, solvable pieces. Let's take our chat app as an example. A strong candidate might propose the following: a WebSocket-based connection for real-time messaging, a message queue to handle spikes in traffic, a NoSQL database for storing chat histories because of its flexibility and scalability. But they don't stop there. They explain why they chose these solutions and how they will handle edge cases, like message retries or scaling the database. Trade-offs. The bread and butter of every system design. Great candidates know that every choice has a pro and a con. For example, in our chat app, should the system prioritize consistency, which is every user sees the same message, or availability, the system stays online irrespective of failures? It could also be, should they use a relational database for strong ACID guarantees, or a NoSQL database for horizontal scalability? This is where hiring managers should pay attention. A thoughtful candidate will articulate their trade-offs based off the system requirements and won't shy away from discussing any limitations of their approach. As a candidate, it's also fine to say, I don't want to use this because I don't understand it well enough, or my knowledge here is limited, but this is what I think. Let's say the candidate suggests WebSocket for real-time messaging. That's a solid choice. But what if the app has a lot of inactive users? WebSockets consume even more server resources. A great candidate will acknowledge this and propose strategies, maybe closing idle connections so that we optimize performance. That's the kind of practical thinking you want. As a hiring manager, these are the candidates you want to hire or consider for the role. As a candidate, this is an opportunity for you to show that you actually understand the system and you're able to optimize it based off the requirements. Last but not least, communication. System design interviews aren't a monologue, they're a conversation. A great candidate will explain their thought process as they go, ask for feedback from the interviewer, adapt their solution based on the new scenarios as the conversation unfolds. This kind of proactive communication shows that they are thinking about the long term and not just surviving the interview. Alright, hiring managers, let's talk about the red flags. Watch out for this during the interviews. Over-engineering. A simple problem doesn't need Kubernetes or event-driven architecture, or maybe even microservices, and mostly doesn't need blockchain. ignoring edge cases. What happens if the database goes down? How do they handle data loss or even retries? 3. Lack of trade-off. If a candidate insists that their design is perfect, to me, they are missing the point, and that is a big red flag. 4. Silence. Communication is the key. If they are not thinking out loud, it's hard to follow their reasoning, and it's hard to have that conversation. Remember, it's a conversation, not a monologue. So what's the key takeaway here? As a hiring manager, focus on how candidates think, not just the end result. Look for clarity of structure, trade-offs, and teamwork, because that's going to be important if they eventually join the team. And for candidates, remember, this is a two-way street. You're not just solving a problem, you're showing how you would work as part of a team. So ask clarifying questions, think aloud, and don't be afraid of discussing trade-offs. Got more questions about system design interviews? Drop them in the comments below. And if this video helped you, consider liking and subscribing to this channel. See you next time. And remember, system design interviews aren't just about systems. They're about how you think.